rains come down, wash the tracks out. Now where would the water go to wash it out? And Todd walks over to the culvert. Kain walks over to the culvert. Todd goes, I got a print. Kain goes, I got another print. And I'm over here, I'm sitting like this, and I'm just going, my theory was correct. And they're using his culvert all the way up to his driveway, coming in just shy of that security light that Kain had at the corner post where behind where me and Todd were sitting, and it just it proved to me that that I still got it out there in the field. All I'm saying, if there's no tracks in the woods and there's no tracks on the grass, there's no tracks to be found anywhere. There is tracks. You just got to know the means of egress, where he's coming in, out and going, and the places that you don't think that he would go.
I'm ecstatic that something actually happened. I mean, the timing of that to happen while we're having an interview about this subject here at this property after the day we already had, it's just timing. And but those are the things, you know, that I've talked about. I have videos of things hitting the cabin and the things going around here. Everyone experienced that tonight multiple times. Things, rocks hitting the cabin. That's a rare event that you can actually even catch any of that on camera, let alone experience it. So I'm just happy that tonight was the night.
You know, I've been in the woods a lot. I'm a hunter, wildlife photographer. Now, I don't go deep in the woods. In Ohio, there's really not a whole lot of deep in the woods here. But I've been in the woods a lot. And there's things I've heard recently, and I've only been doing this about a year with Rich. And it's like each time we go out, there's something that I've never seen or heard before. So there's a lot of things out there. And each time I go out, there's just another step of finding something new that I've never even thought about would be out there in the woods. And to say that I've never had the rocks thrown at me, I probably have never paid any attention to it. And I think that's probably a lot of it. And with Rich teaching me wood talk, I probably walked by tons of that stuff, never even paid attention to it. And I think it's a lot of problem with people today is they don't know, with the civilization, they don't know what actually is out there. And they think it's just trees and squirrels and rabbits and that's it. But if they stop and look and listen, take their time to enjoy the woods, they'll realize that there's a lot of other creatures out here that I just saw. That's just amazing.
I've been a researcher. I've been out there for 50 years. I've seen a lot of things, and when I first saw the southeastern Ohio Bigfoot, I thought, you know, what an impressive, you know, species that I'm seeing that nobody gets to see, you know. And on my time, as years went by, I coming up this dry creek bed, and I came around this wash and looked up on the cliff edge, and I saw another Bigfoot, but it wasn't it wasn't like the southeastern Ohio Bigfoot. This here was a different one. He of what they claim to be the southeastern Ohio Grassman, and I've talked to a few people and they said, well, there's no difference. They said, Bigfoot's a big. I said, no, there is not. I said, I saw two different species out there. The southeastern Ohio Bigfoot has he's bulk big. He's got longer hair. The difference between him and the southeastern Ohio Grassman is that he has more of a monkey-like face, but they have our eyes, and they have like kind of like our nose, but they have, you know, like an ape feature to them, but human ape type. And his hair is shorter. You see more muscle volume because of the shorter hair.
was very impressed when I first met you, how you go out and some of the things that you do to get this kind of evidence, because that's what's impressive. Because a lot of people are going to question like how does this guy do this? But once you told me what you do out in the field as far as how you stake out, you're on another level. You're on a trained level, that you're taking some training that you've had out into this field of research that I don't know of anyone that does some of the stuff that you've done, as far as when you gilly out, how long you're out there, what you do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it takes.
It does.
I mean, that's
Near,
I think the thing that someone needs to know is you're doing some extreme things to be able to even witness anything like this.
Oh yeah, because I'm in the forest about every evening until usually when the sun comes, or before the sun comes up. I'm usually heading back out. But I tell people, if you're not out there, and I'm not talking once a weekend, no. The more that you stay prevalent to your woods where you grew up, and you hang out there, and you're going there almost every other day or every day to show your presence out there, and you're not carrying a weapon. The only thing you got is a walking stick and a little thing of water. And like I said, being in a ghillie suit, wintertime, freezing rain, laying on your back, you've been there a day and a half, and you got your genitals tied to a jug, so for the restroom, and laying there, and all of a sudden, right there he is. He's come around the corner, walk right in front of me, and
Well, that's what impressed me, is when you told me that you were laying out there for a day and a half without moving, and you're like, this is what you got to do.
yeah, steadfast.
Even to how you urinate, you're not moving for a day and a half.
You're not, nope.
I don't know of anybody that does that.
Really?
Out in this field, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm pretty hardcore, and I've never even. I'm like, I'm out in the woods all the time, and I'm not moving for a day and a half, 2
Right.
days. I think that's the key to possibly be able to even witness anything like this. 'Cause I think you have to be in that much stealth mode, and nothing can know that you're even in that area.
Well, I mean, you've seen my pics. You've seen this.
I've seen
That's
what you bring to the table, and that was the first question I had, was how.
Yeah,
And
a
then
lot
when
of
you
people
start
do.
describing what you do and how
Yeah.
the tactics that you use, I'm like, well, that explains a lot of it.
Well,
That
and
explains a
another
lot,
part.
because there's nobody out there doing that.
Well, the other part is where the only foods that I take out that I will eat out in the field, if I'm gonna be out there longer in the day, is only indigenous to the area where I'm at. If it shows, walnuts or chestnut trees around the area, I'm gonna eat them. And fruits, but only the fruits like apples, cherries, what's indigenous. Now you start breaking out, all this other exotic fruits. I don't do that. I only take out what's indigenous to this area. Maybe a piece of fish. But one part, I'll eat the fish cooked, the other part, but the other half, I'll take out a piece of raw, like a bass or a catfish, and I'll just lay it out. I won't eat it. I'll just lay it out on a rock right there where I'm sitting, and let that odor get in the air. And they smell, well, here they come. And even though I've eaten a fish sandwich earlier, but look at the fish there. And then when I'm starting eating the chestnuts or walnuts or whatever, and you can see them in the distance watching you, and it's really neat. But they don't come forward, and I don't leave them gifts. You don't leave them gifts. So now, if I get up and I leave some few nuts or berries, it's indigenous to the area. So it's not like I'm leaving a treat. It's just like I got up and it didn't like I left any garbage or trash. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's indigenous to the area. So, and I think that helps too. I think it does. But I've been doing it for 50 years. A lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
But
We've had
baby
those
powder.
conversations, yeah. We've had
But
the
baby powder
conversations.
works really good. If you get into an incident to where you think you might want to get out of the area, just take they sell them in little bottles, little baby powder, and just take it out and usually just go in my hand and go, I blow in the air. It just, all aggression, everything just stops immediately. And you don't hear anything. You don't hear them go away. You don't hear it. They're just stopped. And that works really good. And I gave that to Bob and this other person. And they said it actually worked. They said that they got under, and they said the ground got growls on both sides, and they were shaking the trees and whatever and breaking things. He said, well, they took out the bigger part. He said, we just squeezed it up in the air like this. I said, no, just pour it in your hand, blow it out. He's like, he's shooting the whole plate. And he said, yeah, Richard, as soon as I maybe got the fourth or fifth squirt up in the air, he said, it just stopped immediately on both sides. And he said, we never heard another sound the whole night. And he goes, but you knew they were still there because you didn't hear them walk away. And I go, yeah, they think that there's a youth, a baby, because they're smart. You know how smart they are. They've been around humans enough. They know an infant smell when they smell it, and that deteriorates any aggression at all. And I've always told a couple researchers, if you want to try that, go ahead. And see if it works for you. I'm not saying it will, but it's always worked for me. But I never had a lot of aggression towards me, and so I hear a lot of people run into aggressive grass people. Well, I'd kind of be aggressive too. I've never ran into one, but suppose you got shot in the back or the leg with a 12-gauge shotgun out there, and you run across another person out there with a gun. You're going to be a little aggressive, aren't you? So that's the only ones ways I can think of why there are aggressive ones out there, that they've run across somebody that was carrying a gun, or they seen a gun, they know that it's like a bang stick or whatever they call it. But no, that's the only thing I can think of, because I've never really been chased out of an area or felt like my life was in danger at any time. That's because the reason I don't really carry a pistol out there or any weapons. Sometimes I don't even carry a walking stick. I just, to be out there with them, I don't wear socks, I don't wear underwear, and I don't put no deodorant on. I don't take no shampoo in a shower. I just rinse off and put on a set of clothes I've had laid out in the yard drying. I put them on because the grass people, they're like, they want to smell your true essence. You got socks on, you got your underwear. They can't really, smell you per se. And that's what I was taught. And they do. They really, they're like, you can hear them take a big deep breath in. He's sniffing you. It's like he's checking you out. But they will not take their eyes off of you for 1 second. And I wouldn't advise staring at them. I don't know what would happen, but I never did. What I've been taught, don't stare at them. They don't like it. So there was a lesson for that. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, these people have never been wrong. So I've been taught all my life. So yeah. And this was really excellent to be and meet up with you, Kain. To finally give the public what they want. Yeah. And we're not doing this for fun or gigs or gags. Or we're here in Kain's home. I've asked him if we could use his abode to do a documentary here. He has grass people activity here, grass people activity all around his cabin. So I think if I convene with Kain and bring him up to date on a little bit, if you'd like, on Wood Talk, we can really get in deep and find maybe some answers that people are seeking. But the people got to know this too. You can't expect sensitive question answers on something that took 2 years, 5 years, 11 years to get that answer. I'm sorry, we're not going to give it to you. You're going to have to earn your time in the field too, just like we did. And believe me, it takes years. You ain't going to go out there on a weekend and say you're going to come up with some pics unless you accidentally. Most of the sightings were you stumbled across one and he was just going across the road or something. And if you want to get a little closer, there are procedures and very strict procedures, because one mistake, you might as well go to another county or someplace else, because they only trust you once, and they're very strict. Believe it, on the human side of them. That's what I've noticed. And a lot of people say, well, yeah, hey, they might do that at where you're at. I'm telling you what they're doing in Hocking, Perry, and Fairfield County, because those are the 3 counties I've done in 50 years. You can call me a liar. You can call me anything you want. But my evidence I've brought to the table, it's pretty undisputed. And it hasn't been seen in the public yet. So the public's going to be getting to see this here real soon. And we'd like the questions, but you got to refrain on the questions that you do ask. Because all of the questions that say that you're asking and nobody gave you an answer, that's the reason why. Because you haven't earned your time in the field to collect it. And wouldn't you agree with that?
100%. I've always said that you have to know the woods like it's your own backyard. If
Yep.
someone came to your backyard and put a lawn chair in it, you'd be able to recognize it. It's no different than in the woods. You need to know the woods like it's your own backyard,
Yeah.
so you can start seeing the wood talk as it happens and as it progresses. Most people don't even know where to look or to even recognize,
Yeah.
but it's real. And the more you're out in the woods, the more you will see that, and that's the first step. And then just some things you can't. Once you have an answer for something,
Wow.
you can't just give it out, because then it gets tainted and you ruins your research. For then on, once that is there out, you can never trust anything from
Beyond
that
that.
point on, because now the cat's out of the bag. This is what they do, and then people can hoax it. Once people can hoax it, you got to pretty much throw it all out.
Yep.
That's why we're quiet about a lot of things. It's just so we can research it, so we can say with
100%.
conviction
Yeah.
that this is what's happening, because we've documented it
Yeah.
over and over and over.
Yeah. Yeah. Just because you see a print, well, like you said, you don't see the print for what it is. You know the print's there. It's not going nowhere. So you're back research. You go back, see where he might have come down something, or came around this valley and up, or crossing this creek, or putting, like you said, put the knuckles on that we poured today. And
Drives me crazy. I mean, completely drives me crazy. Because people will find a print. So this is a legendary. You have physical evidence of the legendary thing that's supposed to be a myth. Physical evidence on the ground, and you take a picture of it and you walk away.
Yeah.
You've spent half your life. This is you're this close.
You're
to
taking a
legend
picture and walk
at
away.
this moment of your life. You're this close to a legend, and you take a picture of it and walk away. Don't you want to know where it came from?
Right.
Don't you want to know why it's here? Don't you want to know every single thing? This is as close
Yeah.
as you're probably ever going to get to this.
yeah, in
You
your
better
lifetime.
use that time wisely, and you better ask yourself the questions: why is it here? You know, why did it choose this area of woods? What all those questions? If I follow you for a week, I'm going to know a lot about you and your habits.
Yep.
All right, I'm not going to take a picture of your footprint and walk away. I'm going to follow those tracks, and I'm going to learn your habits, because I'm following you and I'm learning about you. That's what we do as trackers. We are learning how these grass people operate in their own environment on their own terms.
Yeah, 'cause
Don't
they
you
only
want to know how they live?
Yeah, they only do everything with importance, and they don't fool around. It's a strict meaning and importance of what they do, and
That is
you
truly
notice
evident in the tracking.
yeah,
Is their tracks are a lot of times it's from point A to point B, and it's with a mission.
right,
You can tell by tracking something. It's not meandering. It's a straight shot. They're getting from here to here.
Yeah.
And then maybe once they get there and they feel safer, maybe they'll do something. But that's like you said. Everything has purpose.
well, just like out in the forest, in the national forest, if you're lost, and you don't know your bearings to the stars, you just find a big path that's heavily ran. Well, you know, one end's going to take you to food, and one's going to take you to water. See, the animals are smart. Either one end takes you to food, and one end takes you to water. Which one do you take?
Yeah.
So one, if you're thirsty and you end up getting the food, well, you know how much longer a walk it's going to be back.
Yeah. Right.
So, like I said, it's really weird being a tracker, per se, because you're constantly debunking yourself 100 times a day. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I know it's but
Look how
this
much
one
time
here
we
says
spent
something
on that
else.
fist.
Yeah, this
Look
one
how
here
much
says,
time we went into just taking that one fist print and analyzing
Yeah.
just that. because we want to know everything about it.
And you
Well,
come up with a
it's the
whole lot of
outlaw
things.
Knuckles. Yeah.
Yeah, like that wood talk right above where that knuckle print is. Right there, the tree's been around, locked into position, where we broke it off, and the moss
Yep.
taking off the log. I mean, a big section, not like a kid just step over, an adult step over and just scuff it with your foot. No, this is a big section taken, and it's just whoop, laid off over to the side over here. And it's like nobody just came up and tore it and moved it. You know what I'm saying? You saw it.
It's evidence.
But like I said, the evidence is there, but you got to go before the evidence. Why was he there? Why, what was the purpose? What was he doing this for? And legitimate pour, not something where where someone tried to fake it and put your heel down there and try to make a tracker. You can know what's real and what isn't, and especially being in that area. You can sum it up that no, that wasn't a person, no, that wasn't a bear, no, it wasn't a big cat, no one. So you're going through 100 different things in a millionth of a second, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna leave that there, and I'm gonna go over here and investigate this part.
Yeah.
And
All the trace evidence. That's how you determine from a hoax to a real print out in the woods.
You got to show a
is
timeline.
Everything out there that leaves a print also leaves a trace of its movement, where someone just went out and manufactured a print and then said, hey, look, you're not going to see all the other trace evidence because it didn't happen.
Right.
And that's what tracking is. Tracking's like, great, there's a print, now let's track everything else besides the prints.
Yeah.
The trace evidence.
Yeah.
And that's how you can determine whether it's hoaxed or not, or
Yeah.
obviously out there we know better.
Yeah.
But that's all the stuff that goes into tracking.
Yeah.
Tracking is finding the
Investigating.
path when the footprints
Gone.
disappear.
Yeah.
That's tracking.
Where it ends and there's, well, you look at, well, and like he just stepped through a portal or something, but
Yeah.
there's a portal thing about it. I've seen tracks to where the dog man was here and the Grassman was here on both sides, and I don't know if one was tracking the other or just that and the other, but both tracks start way away from the cliff edge, way out here. In the middle there's all of a sudden, boom, boom, there's the Grassman, there's the dog man. It's like, well, they didn't leap off the cliff and go over here, and you walk all the way back to the area and look for tracks? None. But where do they start? They only go so far. There it stopped. It's like they went, poop, out of a portal, walk a little bit, poop, right back out another portal. It's like it disappeared. And it's like whoa, I got tracks from there to there, but nothing beyond or anywhere else around, and same way back, all the way around. So I'm like there's another question.
Yeah.
What? Okay, they're running together, or maybe one of them's tracking the other one or whatever, but they're both together here, and it stops here. They didn't take off that way or leap this. No, the cliff's too far away. It's like not one track to be found. It's like, and like today, that woman down there, Carrie, she said felt kind of weird in certain spots, but
We want to talk about what the tracks we found up the cliff,
yeah, well,
face of the cliff wall, because that was very impressive. Another interesting find in the pit today was we had some females that came out with us today. And was that their first time ever there?
yeah, well, Carrie, she wants to be a member of the SOSBI.
Okay.
So I took her out in the field to get her broke ends on. She was asked to come along, and her daughter came.
Yeah, and
Danielle.
her daughter. So we found the fist print. While they were waiting for that cast to dry, Daniela, she comes and yells over and says, "Hey, we found some more prints." And Richard yells and says, "There's another one you can cast." And she goes, "No, you can't." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "Oh, just come here and look at it." And this is no lie. We go, this is a rock face.
Straight up.
Yes, very well, heavily documented this.
Yeah, have it documented.
And there are footprints going up the rock face.
Grass people, footprints.
Yeah,
Boom,
I mean,
boom.
big footprints.
It's like, oh, hit it again.
And the one thing that I noticed that I thought was extremely intriguing was the tree that was leaning up against that, up against the cliff face. And I was wondering, I was like, did something kind of pole vault use that to get up to where you could see the foot. So I guess I should go back. There's moss on this rock face.
Yeah.
And as this thing was climbing the rock face, it was footprint was actually peeling down the moss to where you could see its footprints, and you could see its handprints, and you could see how it went up a solid straight
cliff.
rock face.
Yeah.
And that's why I said that's the first time out there. With a little bit of training and a little bit of guidance and just perception, she went out there her first time and said, "Hey, this looks unusual.
Yeah.
I'm going to take a closer look at it." And we're like, looking at it, was a gigantic. I was
That's where two
extremely
researchers looking at
impressed.
something that shouldn't be.
I was extremely impressed because it was legitimate tracks going straight up the face.
Straight up. That's like, because I walked there and I hollered back. I go, I think this is going to be a difficult pour.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not pouring it.
That's what I was thinking the whole time. There's no way.
Trying to pour something on the side of a cliff. I got a face shot. Well,
How about the gold coins? You want to talk about that?
yeah, we'll talk about
Yeah.
the coins. Yeah.
Talk about the gold
I don't know you because I'm not, but that's really strange too.
Yeah, I don't know much about it because that was happening there when I was over here. But when I heard what I heard, I'm like, what do you mean you lost a truck? Well, because I look back when we was leaving, I go, who's got the truck? And Todd's like, we gotta go back down. Okay, well, Todd and Daniel went back. He said, but before that happened, she had set with yours, you set your Skull Candy earphones down there, and she set her bottle of water there. And when you guys came walking back to it, they were both missing. And there was a plastic gold coin from a token put in its place. What, correct?
on the ground.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. In the
And-
same area.
In the same area.
Exactly.
And then when they went back, Todd went back to the track. The track had been moved, but something else was gone. But it replaced with 2 coins,
Another coin.
two other coins, and they're looking at me for answers. I'm like, because I'm there and they're there. I'm like, well, feed into it. I said, I told you this place is weird. Did you guys see anything? Did you see anything? I go, these things. I'm just moving. It's like,
No.
you can't.
I can tell you where his cast was at. I know this for a fact.
Yeah.
Where his cast was originally at, there was no damn gold coin. Because we walk through there.
Yeah.
We're trackers.
Yeah.
We're looking at the ground. We're looking for prints. We go right by where he laid the cast.
Mm-hmm.
There was no damn gold coin
Coins.
there when we left. When we came back, that blows my mind a little because for one, there's no one down there.
No.
So to come back, his cast has been moved, and there's a gold, plastic gold token coin.
Yeah.
Another one, which I just that's weird.
And there's nobody down there.
All right.
And then the women saw, they saw a girl. They go, did you see the woman with the, and I'm going, with the long gown? I'm going, do what?
Yeah.
I go, I was just running. I know, I didn't. And up there, you could hear a car door shut way up out there. But we didn't hear nobody come down. They had to go by us
Right.
because they didn't come down the other way. So they had to come up this way.
One way in, one way out, basically. That's it.
Yeah,
There's 2 ways.
2 ways. And I'm like,
We're literally blocking one of the ways.
Yeah.
Someone would have to. And the other way's not exactly probably very well known, or it's pretty sketchy.
yeah. But where she came
when she
in,
came in, she had to come down the wooden stairs.
She-
that's impossible.
because we were there.
We were on the wooden stairs.
Yeah, and like I said, but she came in from the other end of the box canyon that came in. So, if she did, pretty near all of us were there at the end where the box canyon opened up. So I was there.
We're
Dave
all
was
there.
Dave and you. Dave, you was with Carrie.
No, you were with Carrie. I was with
Oh,
my daughter and.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I was with the daughter, and I'm like, well, we're all there. We would have seen her come out because it just opens up into nothing. So I didn't see her come in, and they said, yeah, she's just walking right now. I'm going, walking where? And they're pointing, and I still don't see her. I was like,
Okay. Strange. And I kept telling myself, well, maybe it's I never did believe in spirits and ghosts and stuff like that until here recently. Until, well, you know, or I caught across the, and again, I can't rule that out. I thought, well, maybe you saw an apparition. Maybe it was one of the people that went missing here. Or maybe this lost soul, whatever they call it. I don't know. I didn't believe in that field, but I do have pictures of full-blown apparitions. Well, usually, I mean, full facial shots. I mean, just you can see the color of the skin. One's got a double chin. He's smiling at me, and it's like I said, that's not my field. It goes into paranormal, crypto, everything else. I just want to stay with the grass people, but going far into grass people, you're going to stumble right in the crypto world right now because that's some of the times that's where they go. They're in areas where those cryptos things are.
Yeah.
Why do you think Ohio is in the top 10 of Bigfoot sightings and is a hotbed for cryptid activity?
I think what comes to my head first and foremost is how much woodland for one, Ohio. I think a lot of people probably don't realize a very large portion, almost the entire eastern side of Ohio, from Columbus south, is under cover of woods. There's a lot of woods and wood cover in Ohio, and right here, the area that we're in right now, if you add up all the parks, state parks and national forests, you have over 900,000 acres right here in this area of parks and recreation. So that's 900,000 acres of woods right here. And then you put in like where I live, the private property in between these parks. That's a lot of area. And a lot of these parks, when you go to them, it could be miles and miles of national forest, but only trails here. The rest of there's nowhere to get really and to walk through them unless you have lived here a long time and you know how to get into these deeper areas. But there's literally areas right around here that probably hasn't seen a human in 50 years or better.
Oh yeah.
Once you get away from the trails where the people are at, it's remote. And especially in this area, it's very dangerous.
Yeah.
People die here every year and around in these parks because they fall. There's hazards. So a big portion of that just rational thinking. I'm saying there's a lot of woods in Ohio. There's a lot of woods, a lot of things to hide. And there's an extreme amount of history, when you go back into history, Native American history in Ohio, clear back to the Clovis, the mound builders. And if you think about this logically, why did early man settle in certain areas? He settled in areas where there was plenty of food, there was plenty of bounty. So they settled in the good areas back then. The native population flourished in these areas that had a lot of food. Eventually, they moved out of the woods. So whatever they were competing with back then now has the full reign. But that's why there's a lot, I believe, there's a lot of sightings and stuff around native sites. It's because people settled in areas of plenty.
Yeah.
So if there is a site out here, there's mounds around here everywhere. When they moved out, that area still produces still a really good place to live. It was good enough to bring thousands of people out of the woods. These woods supported thousands of people back in the day. Thousands. 50,000, 100,000 natives lived off the woods. They left the woods. So why wouldn't they be here?
Right. The bounty's still there.
The bounty's still here.
Yeah.
And they literally have no competition.
I almost was going to say almost the same thing. But at the beginning of the forest, Yeah, you got that nailed right. There, people don't really know, besides of walking outside the door going to a state park, or they don't know how big the area is completely. And I think it's why people choose to come here, or in Ohio, cryptid state, weird Ohio, basically. I think it's due to the fact of all the folklore and legends we have here. We've got Stonewall Cemetery in Lancaster, per se. They don't know the origins of it. It was built in the time when there was Indians weren't really friendly here, and everybody's buried in there is somebody special. They don't, like I said, it's weird. And like stories, of Mary's head in the bucket, this, that, the tunnels, the things that we have here in Ohio. There's just so many lists. Have you seen a list on what the weird things we got here in Ohio?
Yeah, they write books about it. Yeah.
Yeah, all over the place. And it's like and most of that stuff I didn't even know existed out here. I mean, it's not far from home, and I'm like, really? But there's just so much activity going on here, and just like Kain said, the amount of not you count your state forests or state parks, national parks, national forests. It's all connected. One big chain. It's like goes from there, goes almost clear to another state, and keeps on going, jerk or jog. But I think it's because of all the cryptid things here, and plus a lot of people have got the Bigfoot craze, I guess. There's people that have actually came from another state, come here just to buy one of these cabins close to here because they just want to see a Bigfoot. And I'm like, it don't work that way. You don't come here and buy real estate, you're going to see a Bigfoot. Well, maybe you might. Like I said, I don't know. But like I said, it takes decades. But as far as weird Ohio, there's just so many folklores and legends here, and I'm the one that can't just stay away from it. I want to go in and see what this legend is. I want to see what that folklore says. But my forte is the grass people.
It's dark. As
yes.
well. That is something that a lot of people probably don't realize. But John Glenn Observatory is not very far from. It's located in Hocking Hills. The reason it is, it's one of the best places in the country to see the stars.
Yeah.
Because it's so dark.
So dark here.
So being all the national forests and 900,000 acres, that's not many lights. So creepy things hide in the dark.
People take a different perspective. You notice that when they're like just walking out your house and you got your woods there and you got the moonlight and everything. But like you said, like places like out there at the observatory, or not just there, just other places in the national forest, it's so dark you cannot see your hand this close in front of your face and you're waving it. You have to rely on night vision because these places are dark to begin with in the daytime, and now that the foliage is growing in, it is super dark. And like I said, it's I'm not scared of really anything. That's why I don't let that fear pheromone out, and Kain proved that to me by when that big stone come flying in, and like I said, that's what you got to have. Steadfast nerves. Don't be afraid of anything. Just meet what's out there, and hope you don't end up on a milk carton.
Right. Yeah, you can test any man's nerves.
Yeah.
Go right out here, walk an eighth of a mile down the end of the driveway, and get the mail in the dark. It'll see
Pitch
what you're
dark.
made of.
Yeah.
It'll see what you're made of.
Yep. That'll see what
It's
you're.
pitch dark out here, and
Put the test when you know there's activity.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
live here night in, night, every night by yourself, like you do, like I do. We live in this area.
Yep.
This
I'm
is our
alone in the
home.
winters and all the time and everything, and during the summers. Yeah.
This is our home, and it's a creepy place to live.
It is.
It's our home.
That's it. Creepier the better, almost.
Yes.
Yeah. I like to solve the answers, and I hopefully that with Kain's help, we're not going to be together all the time, but the times that we are, together, it will be serious, and it will be on information and evidence, hardcore evidence, is what I'm asking Kain, and he's willing to do that. So the next step is once we got the professional wildlife photographer Todd, and we have you to help us get this out in the public's eye, to let them know that I wouldn't say there's beasts out there, but don't be afraid to go out at night, or don't be afraid to go out there in the woods, because don't be afraid of the grass people, as far as I'm concerned, because they never bothered me any, and I've been pretty dadgum close, and enough to get a facial shot with his eyes closed, and it's a hell of a shot. I wish he wouldn't have closed his eyes, but you don't get that luxury, and a facial shot is about bar none one of the most hardest shots there is to get and out there. And I've only gotten 2 in 50 years, so you just, it's like playing the lottery. If you don't play, you don't win. And if you're not in the forest a lot, then just hang it up. You're not going to see one unless you accidentally bump into one.
Yeah. Well, that's the challenge. When I started talking to Richard, I told him I'm about evidence. I will not put my name on anything
That's
unless
right.
I can prove it.
Sure.
And even he's got a giant collection of things that he's got through the past. And when he started talking to me, I said, okay, now, how, for me to back you, now we got to do it again. We got to repeat this, and we got to get the evidence for it.
Yeah,
And then I'm there. So
Yeah.
let's do it.
yeah. That's it's going to be good working with Kain, and I can guarantee we're going to have a blast doing it. And most serious thing is safety. That's the number 100% thing. And having a good time doing is one thing, running for your life is another. And it's like I said, I'm not running from the grass people. You're just going to have to be out in the forest to know what else is out there hunting. And
The answers are in the woods.
yeah,
Always in the woods.
and the forest is full, people, of wood talk. I'm sorry that you all don't get to see it or don't recognize it, but you're walking and you wonder why that you've been chased out of an area. Well, you just passed a whole bunch of signs out there that said, stay out. But people's doing this. That's their livelihood. But if that's what they want, go ahead. That ain't me. I have a dinosaur flip phone. You can't text me. You either leave a phone message or you don't get in. But Kain, I rely on Dave, Todd, and whoever else out there. And sometimes Kain, I ask him, hey man, what's out there? What's going on the internet or on the Bigfoot thing? That's all I ask. I don't ask anything else about no ball games or football or anything. No, I want to know, well, in the crypto world and the grass people, I want to know what's going on out there. Because the 50 years of pictures and evidence I got was only for my grandchildren. It was not for the dadgum public until one of my pictures got out. Well, now look where I'm at. So you all want to know, the world wants to know the truth and wants to see that he's out there? Well, me and Kain's going to give it to you, along with Todd. And we're going to show you hard core evidence. You can believe it if you don't. I don't care. But try to mimic the pictures and the audio and the live video and everything else that we have along that's matching the journals, the dates, the temperatures, the conditions, and yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. So until, like, I went to a lot of Bigfoot meetings, and here I am with stacks of books, pictures, this, cast, and I'm like, I'm there just to see somebody else's stuff. Oh, well, I'm still waiting. Because I sit there, well, you probably know, everybody else has got their phones, and, well, I got a story. Well, everybody, a million people have a story out there. I want to see pictures and audio and video of that story. I want to see that you said that you saw him come off of this and go down that bridge. Well, you had your phone, didn't you? And you come here with a story? Well, eyewitness testimony, dime a dozen. But like I said, with the help of Kain and the help of Todd, wildlife photographer, a professional tracker, and me, knowing knowledge of about 90 or so percent of wood talk, and my knowledge of the grass people, I think we might come up with some really, really, really hardcore evidence here.
What about the video guy? How does he factor into this whole thing?
2 bits of shaving a haircut's what you're gonna get, mister, and not any more credits after that. How's that?
Let me out.
2 bits of shaving a haircut? Hey man, I'm in.